Testing. There it is. Okay. I was muted, and my tracking's weird. Hold up. Better? Pop. Hmm. You good, or are you gonna keep being screwy? Hold on. I think you're gonna keep being screwy. Hold up. Hold up. Let's see. I want to know. Let me reposition myself in the frame, see if that helps. And then... Ooh. It's still set to VTube Studio. I want it to set to this. Where's the thing? Where's the thing? Where's the thing? How's everybody been? It's been like a week. I'm sorry. Hold on, I gotta read. You know, I'll play around with that later. Yeah, it's been like a week. That's my bad. I'm sorry. I got distracted. That's all I got. It's also been stormy. We had our power knocked out earlier today. Not for long. It came back relatively quickly, but it was knocked out for like an hour. Maybe. Not even that. But yeah, so that's the thing that happened. I was gonna stream like 2-3 days ago, but the internet was absolutely crap. Like, it just took a crap. I couldn't do anything online, and it took me like 10 minutes to download very small packages to my computer, or my laptop, I should say. Oh yeah, that's why I've been distracted lately. I have been doing a lot of stuff on the laptop and on the Think Center I have over here, because it is really convenient for me to just switch over to that. I have a KVM, I just hit this button here on my desk and I switch over. And they're both running Linux. I would like this computer to be running Linux, however, I kinda need it to stay on Windows, at least for now. Also, I don't want to deal with NVIDIA drivers, so it's probably just gonna wait until I upgrade. But upgrading's a few years out, which means I have to keep dealing with Windows 11. I might back up everything, then install Windows 10. Because that honestly might be better than staying with Windows 11. I honestly hate dealing with this computer so much. It is terrible. How do I say? Yeah, I switch. I can't speak. Switch. Stop. Since switching to Linux, there we go. Or at least starting my switch to Linux, I have been doing better. I mean, I have been enjoying using my laptop more, and it's much better than using this computer. This computer sucks. Honestly, it's made me hate wanting to use this computer so much. I mean, I still have to figure out how to get like OBS and stuff working on Linux, so that's like a whole other thing. But honestly, if I need to do like actual computer things, and unless I'm like constantly referencing other monitors, I just do it on this Think Center over here. That's part of like a dual PC setup I have. Or everything's done on the laptop. And it is so much nicer. And I originally just bought the laptop to go to school, and because like I knew the online schooling wasn't working. So if I started looking for like in-person colleges, and because of that, I did decide I'm not gonna want to transport my big bulky PC because it's big, it's inconvenient to transport, and I wouldn't just want to leave it I wouldn't want to take it and a perfectly capable laptop and only just use like one, and then have to worry about like having my files on both all the time, and I suck at keeping backups up to date. Like my GitHub, I keep a backup of all my configs on GitHub because I play with them, and I need to make sure I have a stable version that I know works. I went like 2 months without updating it. And I always work off the flash drive that they're actually stored on, so I can't just leave them on the flash drive. I need like a second flash drive, like .conf back or something. That hold on. Where's my sticky notes? I'm actually gonna. There are my sticky notes. Hold up. That's garbage. I don't need that. I've already done that. Wait. I do need that. Hold on. It has a password on it. Go over there. Hold on. I need a pen. Hello. There we go. Hold on. That's upside down. Make dot conf dot back drive, and then I don't even have to worry about keeping that one up to date. I can just download whenever I want to back. Like, I feel like I'm at a good spot to back up. I normally just upload to GitHub anyway, and I can just download from GitHub from that to the flash drive, so that way I have an actual backup. I don't need to rely on internet connection or Git for. Not that it really matters. Git is probably like one of those tools that like probably is not going anywhere. I shouldn't say that. That's asking for problems. But yeah, that's not something I really should say. That's asking for problems. And so they all get backed up there. And I normally just work off the flash drive, and then after I do my changes and I want to move them to my sister, I just copy them to the files they need to be in. So for instance, I'll do stuff in like the user folders or the etc folders. Directories, I'm sorry. Like the user directory or the etc directory. Stuff like if I'm messing with like Pacman configs, I use Endeavor on my laptop. However, I need to do a reinstall because it's kind of messy and Steam broke. And it's a little messy. I need to do a reinstall. I'm going to do one within the next few weeks. I do know. I'm going to wait on a drive though, because I need to back up all my files from this computer that I'm on now, which is my Windows PC. I need to back those up and then move them to the Linux PC. So I have a drive come in that's like big enough to hold all of them and move them to the Linux PC. And then I have all my files when I leave. The Think Center is running Arch. The laptop is Endeavor though, and honestly, I've been getting less problems from Arch. Like Endeavor was nice to like get my foot in the door and like help me learn Linux, because Arch as a first distro sucks. However, if you give me an install script like Endeavor does, I install my first distro was in. I've at first tried Arch. Actually, technically, my first Endeavor was like PiOS, but like that was a forever ago. When was that? I would have been. When was like the first gen Raspberry Pi? Hold up. When was? How do you spell berry? Oh, it's an E. There we go. When was first gen Raspberry Pi? 2012? Yeah, that sounds right. Yeah, it would have been 2012, 2013. I would have been 7 or 8. My first time I've used Linux, and it was a Raspberry Pi. Yeah, that sounds right. Is that right? Yeah, it would have been, because... Yeah, that lines up. That lines up to when... 7 years I was there. And I was there for a few years after I used the Pi. Because that's like... And when did we move there? Well, I'm trying to do it based on how long we were in the old house. 3? Yeah, I would have been 3. I think. Yeah. No, I would have been 4. But I only just turned 4. 2012 would be... No, would have been 3. Yeah, it would have been 3, not 4. I would have been 4. I would have turned 4 shortly after moving there. So, right? No. I would have had like a year there. And that would be 2 2000. Uh, 1, 2, 3. 2008? 2008 seems right. That would be 4 years. Yeah, 2008 seems right. Then that would be 4 years to 2012, which would be the first gen Raspberry Pi, which would line up for when we left that house. Like, because we were there for a few years afterwards. It'd be like 3 years after the fact. Yeah, that sounds right. So yeah, it would have been like 2012. So I would have been 7. Right? Yeah, 7. Yeah, that's right. So that was my first, that technically is my first Linux distro, is I guess Pi OS. But we're not going to count Pi OS. I didn't even get to keep the Raspberry Pi. It was only for like a week. But technically, that's my first time using Linux. However, when I reinstalled last November, I ended up... at first I installed Arch. Because, like, when I was looking, I was like, I want nothing on my system. I don't like stuff. I like my system being extremely minimal. And it just working. So, at first, I chose Arch because it has amazing documentation. The Arch Wiki is fantastic. And it is a great resource. So, I wanted that. Also, the AUR is just good. The AUR just works. Actually, I shouldn't say that. Don't take that as advice. Do not. The AUR does have problems. Look at that recent malware attack that just happened. But the AUR is still great, and I wanted access to that as well. So I knew I was going to at least go with an Arch-based distribution. And honestly, I'm not scared of the command line. People are scared of the terminal. I'm not. I use the terminal on Windows. I was mad the other day because some of my, like, the Linux commands I've been using, I got used to, and I couldn't remember the Windows commands to do the same thing. I was like, oh, this is so frustrating. Fine, I'll just do it with stupid File Explorer. But then File Explorer crashed, and I remembered why I don't do that. File Explorer sucks. I mean, I'll use Nautilus, but most of the time when I'm dealing with files, unless I'm just, like, dealing with a lot of files or browsing files on the laptop or on the ThinkCenter, honestly, I'm not using Nautilus, which is the File Explorer, I guess would be the correct way to say that. It's the one I decided to download. At first I was using Dolphin, but Dolphin has its own issues because then... What was my issue with Dolphin? I didn't like Dolphin for something, and I preferred Nautilus. But I tried like 12. 12 different ones to... That was a lot of bouncing. I did that pretty early on. That was only a few months in, so I probably got locked. I probably decided I'm just going to keep using Nautilus. Probably around February of this year, I would guess. Because I've been playing with stuff a lot on it. Also, that's like a GNOME app. So, it works with all the GTK toolkits, which I need to set up still so my laptop stops blinding me. It's still in light mode, so, like, all the stupid windows are white, and it's just so bright. I need it darker. I need, like, a dark gray. Like, everything else is a dark gray. And I like the dark gray. It's nice. It's convenient. It doesn't blind me. Like, these lights blind me a little bit, but I've kind of learned to not look at them, and I have them turned down a lot. I do have lights to help improve my tracking with some of this stuff. My eyes are glitchy out because I didn't bring up a game today, so I just have Vtuber on my center monitor, and my eyes are so glitchy today. But that's just a side effect of having glasses and trying to do face tracking from a weird angle, because I can't put the phone anywhere else. What were we talking? We were talking about Linux. I should keep talking about Linux. I have other stuff to say about that. But I've been loving it. It is great. It honestly makes me hate Windows more than I hated Windows to begin with. As I already hated Windows, and then Microsoft just keeps making Windows so much worse. I should not have to go through like 2, 3 compatibility. Actually, it's just 1 or 2. But I shouldn't have to go through 1 and 2 compatibility layers and still have much better performance. That's not even like the main issue. I mean, it's a issue. this computer struggles to run Minecraft not loading, but my 10-year-old laptop does it fine on Linux, which is annoying, but it's fine. I don't need it to have power. It's a school laptop. I can be working off of it. If I could only play like indie games and like smaller titles, that's fine. There are smaller titles I like and am happy playing with. Also, my old laptop was a piece of crap. So this one's actually much better than my old laptop. I don't think it's more, it might be more powerful. It definitely has more RAM, which is sad. This one has 8 gigs. My old one only had like 4. And I thought that one new. This one's used. But yeah, it's significantly better. It needs a new CMOS battery, which I have known for a year and still haven't replaced. I'll get it eventually. I know I will. Probably. But I just don't let it die, and we don't have that issue. Need some drink. And just don't let your laptop die, you stupid. And then you don't need a CMOS battery. However, when it does die, I need to reset the date and time because it doesn't have a CMOS battery. And like the network thing only works if the computer's like signed in, I think. No. On first boot, which it always is when it dies, because there's no CMOS battery, the network doesn't update it in the BIOS. So I need to set the BIOS date and time. However, if it's turned on and it doesn't die, the CMOS battery being dead doesn't affect it because it just goes off the main battery. And then then it could use the network to update BIOS settings, like the BIOS date and time. So I don't need to worry about it. I just don't let it die, and I'm good. It lives over here on my desk. It stays plugged in pretty much all the time. I did have one issue earlier today, but that was fixed. And it wasn't even related to that. It was a different issue. Oh, that was funny. Me itching my nose is like shaking the entire head in my tracking, but it's being smoothed out quite a bit by Vtuber Studio, it looks like. Because Vtuber is glitching all over the place. But yeah, I did have one issue today. I was working on getting my monitor set up, because I am not going to school with one monitor. That one 13-inch monitor too. That is tiny. Are you kidding? No, I'm upgrading. I was originally just gonna take one of these monitors because I have 3 here and I could just leave one at school during breaks, minus summer, and be happy because I could use 2 monitors at home and be happy on 2 monitors at home. However, I was not gonna be happy with 2 monitors at school, so I was originally just gonna take one of these. However, these are 24-inch monitors. I want to upgrade them to 27 inches, but I don't got the money for that right now, and I'm going to be going to school, so I'm not even get to use them that much. But I do want to upgrade to 27-inch monitors. I also need to get a monitor arm, just so I can lift them like 2 inches, because they are slightly too low for me. That also might be fixed by the 27-inch monitor. So that's like a whole thing I got to figure out. But that's probably going to be a few years out. I'm probably honestly going to upgrade my tower before I upgrade my monitors. Although these monitors do kind of suck. I mean, they don't suck. They're good monitors. I like them. They're like Acer monitors. I don't know what kind. I could look it up, but I don't want to because that requires effort and I'm comfortable. I have a Blinky. But they're only like the monitor I got for school was actually better than these monitors because these monitors are 1080p at 60 hertz. I think the center monitor goes up to 120. I don't think I have it running at 120, which is dumb of me, but I don't want to deal with Windows settings, so I'm just gonna. It's harder to switch. To switch it on the laptop, I kind of just go into my config folder and tell it to what for refresh rate I want it to run at. It's like super easy. I don't even know where to find that setting, and I can't just go .config window manager to find the monitor and say, hey, run at this refresh rate. That's what I want to do, But I don't even have Vim on this computer. I hope that's clear. It's a joke. I could easily install Vim. I just don't have a need for Vim on Windows because I have Notepad++. And I am fine with that. I like Notepad++. That's sad. I'm going to be losing Notepad++. However, Vim still works. And I like Vim. So I'm not losing anything. I have a friend who prefers, like, I think he prefers Nano. Yeah, he prefers Nano. And he's the one who got me into Linux, because he's been using Linux for years. I'm a more recent switch. As I mentioned, I've only been in it for about a year. And we were actually gaming. We were playing Slay the Spire the other day, and I was like, hello, IRL friend. Do we have a name for him? Chat, what do we want to call our IRL friend? Why is my chain clipping into my chin? There we go, I fixed it. And now it's clipping. I fixed it. Okay, no name. Hello, IRL friend, I said. And I then said, how dare you? You've made me hate my main computer. How dare you? But thank you. I am very much appreciated. Do that more often. Because it is so much better. Also, I can't have Neri on Windows. It just sucks. Because I really like Neri. And I get mad at the Windows taskbar at the bottom. Like, I have it set to auto-hide because I don't like looking at it. If it was like weight bar where I can make it 90% invisible, then we could talk, but I can't. So I get mad at it. And I'm annoyed. I need to find a way to turn off my screen on like a timer as well. Because Windows turns off my monitors after like 15 minutes to A, save power, B, save the monitor. Which is really only important if they're OLEDs, because these are LED monitors, not OLEDs. So they would be fine. There's not going to be any screen burn-in. They're not going to burn because they're not organic or they're not CRT shooting a laser at it. So they're fine to just kind of stay on. But I don't want them to stay on, so they turn off after 15 minutes. However, I don't have that for the Linux machines yet because I just haven't got around to it. I know I've already done the research on how to do it. I'm gonna need to look up which programs it was because I'm supposed to change my config so I could close things with my middle mouse. Yeah, I have like a list of things to do. I should write them down somewhere better instead of random sticky notes and flashcards. Not flashcards, index cards laying around. But I should just put them in Obsidian with like my stream notes and stuff. Oh yeah, I started taking notes for stream. And I have stuff to talk about that I have not even looked at yet because I've just been talking about this. I said there was a Linux problem I had earlier, and I just kind of glanced right over it. My laptop is one of those 2-in-1 like laptop tablets because my use case for a laptop, if I have to choose between a laptop and a tablet, I'm gonna choose the laptop. It's much bigger. I have a much bigger use case for a laptop than a tablet. However, I do have a use case for a tablet, and it would make my life so much easier to have a tablet. However, that use case is not big enough to justify its own device. So, we just buy a 2-in-1 laptop tablet thing, and my problem is solved. Like, it more than makes up my tablet use case. Like, the whole thing is covered. If I want to draw for, like, math, so I could write out my problems, because I don't want to keep track of scratch paper, because I also like saving my scratch paper, because it's good references for my notes. I reference my scratch paper in my notes if I do stuff in class while taking notes. I also save it for like if I take a test or something. And that can also be like, sometimes teachers are like, hey, show your work. I'm like, here's my scratch paper. Oh, that gets picked up on mic. That's an oops. I just started grinding my tongue against my teeth because it's itchy. And I saw it like making my, I could see it all my audio levels over here. Um, huh. Oops. What was I talking about? I think I was talking about, oh yeah. So, I was setting up my monitors. Oh, that's why I was talking about monitors. I was setting up my monitors for school earlier, and by default, the integrated display is first, which makes sense. However, I want the integrated display, which is the laptop for the 2-in-1, on the right. And the laptop I bought, and the screen I bought, the monitor I got, I didn't buy it. My grandmother bought it for me. Because she was like, oh, you're leaving. I'm like, it's not a big deal, please don't make a big deal out of it. But my mom's like, I'm throwing a party for you to go off to college. And I'm like, no, you don't have to do that. I'll be fine. And I was like, I also don't like parties. I don't like people. I don't like being the center of attention. Oh, but Yoru, if you don't like being the center of attention, why are you a streamer? Well, because I don't have to show my face doing this. You get the model. I get to be up here and do what I like. I like doing this. It's fun. I enjoy it. And it's a lot of fun. However, I still get to Yoru and IRL me still get to be very separate people. And I am very good at keeping Yoru separate from IRL. Like, to the point where Yoru has all of his own accounts for stuff. Like, me and Yoru are extremely different people. Oh, not extreme. Like, I don't put on a performance when I come in on here. Like, it is still just me. But Yoru does still have all of his own accounts. But Yoru is also still me. Like, Discord and Twitter are the only accounts we share. But I have my own YouTube channel, like my own YouTube account, different than Yoda's. Then Yoda has like 2 channels on one account, and then Yoda has his email. Actually, there's 2 for Yoda because there's the email with all the accounts, and then there's the other one. I have my own Twitch, like I have a separate Twitch account for when I'm just me. However, I don't have access to that. So, in reality, I only have Yoda's Twitch account because the one on my personal email is lost to time. Like, I don't have the login information for that anymore. I could guess the name, but I could probably get it wrong. Then, right. And then, I personally do not have like a Blue Sky account. So I'm sharing, I guess I'm sharing Yoda's there, but it's only Yoda's email. And then like Twitter and Discord are both on my personal email, but Yoda is allowed to use them. Whereas Blue Sky is on Yoda's email, and I'm allowed to use them. So that's a little bit funny. Anyway, I was setting up the monitors, and I was fighting it today because I was like, the way Neri does its like monitor configs is they use what you call like logical placement. So like, it's not the resolution of the monitor is the placement, it's the resolution of the monitor multiplied by the scale, I think. And I multiplied the monitor size by the scale, but I got the wrong logical size, which is like their terminology. Like you go Neri MSG outputs, and it gives you that stuff. And I spent 20 minutes trying to figure this out before I realized that. And I was like, this would have saved me so much time. And it took me like 30 seconds to set the monitor up properly after that. However, because I was setting the monitor to like this external display to the primary display, that messed up the tablet configs for the integrated display on the thing, because for some reason I wasn't mapping the tablet to the output, which is what I should do on the like 2-in-1 display. because my laptop has like a stylus. It's like has a DS style stylus. You just kind of pop it out and it has its own like little sleeve. It's really neat. It's really helpful. But it wasn't working today. However, my finger was, and it was weird. I was like, why is my finger working? Like, I could draw on this tablet with my finger, and it goes exactly where I'm touching. But the stylus is trying to draw on the other monitor, which is just a terminal. And that's not how terminals work. Why is this not lined up? And after reading through the documentation, and asking Reddit, because I was so confused, because it only wasn't working for the stylus. If it was the stylus and the finger not working, I would have been able to figure it out probably on my own. Probably. But because my finger was working fine, and the stylus wasn't working, and it was just the stylus that wasn't working, I was like, what the heck is going on? So I sent it to a friend, and he was like, I don't know what's going on here. If it was both, I would be able to help you. But it's weird that it's not both. And I was like, that's what I said. And then I went and asked Reddit, and they were like, oh, it could be this. I should delete the Reddit account. I mean, not the Reddit account, the Reddit post. Not because it's not going to be helpful to someone else, but because I've said it. And I don't want that to be linked. Hold up. Again. Yeah. So I was, and one of them was like, hey, is your monitor set to location X0, Y? Is your monitor set to 00? And I was like, it was when I recorded that video, because I recorded what the monitor was doing before. Hold up. Where's the delete? How do you delete on Reddit again? You click on it? Oh no, there's 3 dots. There's 3 dots. Goodbye. Wait, no, that's not the right post. That's the comment. I'll leave a comment. Goodbye post. Okay, there we go. Problem solved. Now I don't have to worry about that doxing me, because I do not want Yoru linked to anything. Because my old name was a lot more linked. There's a string of numbers after my old name, and it was fairly common. That's why I needed the string of numbers. At least my online name. But my old online name is fairly common. That's why I needed the string of numbers. I don't think I've set the string of numbers on stream, so I should be safe from anything being linked back to the old name, which would be very quickly linked back to IRL me. But Yoru is much more separated. I made sure to keep Yoru a lot more separated than old name was. But we don't talk about old name, because this is a VTuber space. That name is dead. He graduated, and then we shot him. We shot him and we buried him in a dumpster. He got eaten by raccoons, and we don't worry about him anymore. What was I talking about? ADHD, you are something to worry about, huh? Why did my cup make me lose tracking like that? It got so small. So they were like, why did you set, is it set to 00? I was like, yeah, it was when I recorded the video. And then one of them was like, try offsetting. Someone replied to me replying to that. Like, hey, maybe you might need to offset your thing, your tablet. That's what it is. Like, offset the input, not the display. Because the display was already offset, because that's what I did when I was setting up the monitors, is because I wanted the other monitor to be at 00, so I had to set the display to be, instead of 00, I think it's like, what was it? Oh, it's 2048. Yeah, it's because that's like the logical size of the other monitor. But so it's set to 2048, pixels over. I also set it to like 60 pixels up. That's just so like it's more centered and not just on the bottom. I didn't need to do that, and it doesn't really matter that I did that, but I did. Also, I was running into, but after they were like, "Hey, you might need to offset the monitor," I didn't look up the documentation on how to do that. I was just like, I could probably figure it out. I was like, I said I did the same thing. I followed the what's the word? English, help me. I followed the style. I followed the style of like, nah, that's not right. It's not style. I don't know what the word is, but I followed the way you offset the monitors in the config file. So I typed in position x equals 2048 and then y equals 60 because that's what I had the monitor set to. And I ran I copied it over, ran near validate, and then that didn't work. Near threw errors and told me it was unexpected syntax. So then I was like, okay, let me try offset. And then that also didn't work. Ran near validate, unexpected syntax. Then I actually did what I should have done to begin with and looked up the documentation. Then I solved the problem in like 30 seconds because I see there's a setting for tablets where it's just mapped to output. So now it's mapped to output EDP1, which is integrated display port 1. And it just works now, and I don't have to worry about it. And then I ran into another issue where I plugged the monitor into a different USB-C cable, and the USB-C supports alt mode on the laptop. And it's a USB-C monitor. It has a mini HDMI and then 2 USB-C display ports. And that is all of the, is it UI? No, it's not UI. It's all of the... Crap, what is it? All of the ports that it has on it. Oh, why are you messaging me? Hold on, let me mute that. I'll respond to that later. What was I saying? Oh, yeah. But I was like, wait, why is this broken? I just fixed this. And I checked, like, I was like, did I not save the config? Did I only save it on the flash drive? Which doesn't make a lot of sense because I copy it over from the flash drive to the computer, which means it's saved to the computer. Otherwise, it wouldn't be loading because I'm not loading the config from the flash drive. I'm loading the config from the config folder. However, it was the exact same, which is what I expected. And then I listed the outputs again with near MSG, like near MSG output, and I got my outputs listed again, and I noticed the name was different because instead of being DP2, it was DP1. I was like, I see. And then I just copied over my configs. I just copied them in the config folder. Like just that, I think it's like 6 lines. I just copied those 6 lines, pasted them in, and then changed the name from EDP, not E, just DP, from DP2 to DP1. So now I have DP1. So now I have EDP1, DP1, and DP2, and DP1 and DP2 are the exact same. There is no difference whatsoever. But now I can put the monitor into either Type-C port on my laptop, and they both just work perfectly fine. Hold on, let me bring my thing back up. So that was a thing I had to do today. Also, after like 6 months, was it 6? It would have been December, 7 months. Or 6.5. We're not through June yet. July yet. We're not through July yet. It's July, not June. After 6.5 months, I have finally fixed Waybar icons. I downloaded like GNOME characters, which is like a character. It's basically just GNOME emojis, and I'm using I put those in Waybar. I put one of those in Waybar, and it fixed it, and then I didn't go fix the rest, so they still don't have icons. They still have, like, all the missing icons. Which is weird, because the icons show up in... Hold on, I gotta adjust how I'm sitting. The icons show up in the config folder, but they refuse to show up in the Waybar. Like, on the... Well, it wouldn't be the DE, because it's not the desktop environment. Desktop environment's Neri, but Neri doesn't have a bar, so I need to use Waybar. And, they don't show up in Waybar when I run Waybar, but they show up in the Waybar configs. Which is weird, and I don't know why it was doing that. I was like, yo, you... And, like, everything I found online was like, oh, you just don't have these installed. And then you just don't have the icons installed. But I do have the icons installed. They're showing up in the terminal. Because I'm editing my configs in Vim. Because I'm not going to go through the hassle of opening VS Codium or gedit. Or, actually, I think I uninstalled gedit. I was looking for a notepad replacement app for Linux. Hold on. I gotta, like, calibrate this. Yeah, I was looking for a, when I first installed Linux, I was looking for a Notepad++ replacement. So I did things like gedit, Notepad QQ, I couldn't get Notepad QQ to install. It was like, it would almost install, and then it would just kind of die. I don't know what was going on there, but it was being kind of weird. But I think I eventually found something, and then I need to install Obsidian. Obsidian would be nice to have on the computer. But I don't have the sync thing for Obsidian. I wish I had the sync thing for Obsidian, but that costs me, like, money. And I don't want to pay the money, because I like being cheap. However, I have no money, and I'm going to have to, like, spend money, because I want to pay off the car before I leave. Because if I don't pay off the car before I leave, I'm going to be stressing about that. But then I'll have, like, no money, because I've just spent all my money paying off the stupid car. Yeah, these are my problems that I got now. So, I don't know why the GNOME characters versus whatever characters they're using in the default Waybar configs works versus... I don't know what the difference is between them and why one works and why the other doesn't. But I was so happy that the new ones are working. Also, I bought a laptop dock for my computer for use, so I could just plug in one cable and be done and not have to worry about it anymore. However, I'm struggling to get video out through the dock. However, the dock works perfectly fine. It's just behaving weird with the adapters. And I don't know why, because I don't have, like... I'm gonna need to use a adapter, because I can't find just what I need. I think what I'm gonna do, instead of having one cable, I'm just gonna have two and just suck it up. It's a StarTech dock. And let me tell you, I avoid IT and having to call IT like the freaking plague. If I have an issue, I will fix it myself, because I freaking hate IT. They suck. Well, with the story I'm about to tell, most of the time, they suck. And I would just much rather replace it. Just figure out the issue and solve it myself. But this means, because I do this, when I do have to call IT, it's very funny. Because I don't want to call them. So I call them and I'm like, hey, here's the deal. You don't need to explain how to turn on the computer to me. I got that. I got that much. Here's my issue. Here's what I've done to diagnose the problem. I have not been rather successfully or unsuccessfully. Sometimes it's like, here's what I've done to diagnose the problem. I have not been able to diagnose the problem. Here's the results of all these tests I have done. Here is the steps I have taken to solve said problem. And I just walk them through all that. So they're like, every single time, it's always something that's like, oh wow, you actually sound like you know what you're doing. And there's just so much relief in their voice. It is great. I find it hilarious. I love it. it is very entertaining. But like when I got this computer 2 years ago, question mark, 1 year ago, did I get it while I was still a PNG tuber, or did I get it after I switched to a VTuber? I don't know. I don't know. If I was still a PNG tuber, I think it would have been 2 years. I think I was. So 2 years ago? Question mark? Yeah, 2 years ago, question mark? Might have only been one. But when I got this computer, I paid for it. And it's an iBuyPower thing, and let me tell you, iBuyPower kind of sucks. I've had issues with this thing that I just know how to fix. So I just fix them. And they're like silly, stupid things. Like I did that short where I was like switching out my M.2 drive, and there was still like the plastic on it that says, "Hey, please remove before installation." I'm like, really? Y'all couldn't have done this? So yeah, there's those issues. But I had a bad motherboard, so I had to call iBuyPower support because it's PC through them, not through me buying my own stuff, and having to deal with that. But iBuyPower support was so slow. They took like, I called them. No, I'll go to bed later. Shut up, phone. I called them and I was like, hey, I don't know if any of y'all will remember this, or if there's anyone here who's been watching that long. Either way, when I was still doing streams back then, I think I was a PNG tuber at the time. I was like, each stream was like 7 streams because I would just constantly connect and disconnect and reconnect and disconnect and just reconnect, and then I'll just be gone, and then I'll come back like 5 minutes later, and then I'll just be gone, and I'll be here for like 10 seconds, and then I'll disconnect for 30, and then I'll come back for like 10 minutes, and then I'll just be gone again. And it's just like super inconsistent settings. There was a problem with like the Wi-Fi chip built into the motherboard. That's what the issue was, because I can't run Ethernet because I live in a basement, and it's not my house, so I can't just drill 2 holes and call it done. If it wasn't my house, that's what I would do. I'd drill a hole through the floor, or the roof in my case, because I'm in a basement. That would put me into the room above me, and then I would drill a hole through the wall in that room into the room with the router. And then I'll just run my cable through that and call it done. But I don't own the house, and we're not allowed to put holes in the wall. And it is not my house, so I can't just route a Ethernet cable through the entire house, because it would need to go out one room, down a hall, into like the main room, into the basement staircase, down the stairs, and then into my room. So that's impractical, and there's lots of small children, so having just a random Ethernet cable running through the entire house would not be good either. So I can't do that. So I need to be on Wi-Fi. Like, I don't have Ethernet as an option. If I did have Ethernet as an option, I would be on Ethernet, trust me. Because I don't really like doing wireless. Like, if I have a dongle, I am fine with wireless. Like, my keyboard, mouse, and numpad are all wireless, but they're all wireless with a numpad. I don't like this wireless connections, though. But they pretend to be wired connections, so like I make an exception for them. But that's just like a weird thing with me, is I refuse to use Bluetooth on my computers. And to the point of me not even bothering to install it on my Linux systems. Like, just all the stuff to make Bluetooth work on those systems is just not there, because I refuse to use Bluetooth at all on a computer. Like, it's turned off. Like, it's turned off as far as I can make it turned off on Windows, which means it's still there, and I can still turn it on, and it's like still in my like taskbar if I go click on the like connection calendar setting thing. But the Linux PCs just do not have it. Like, if they want something connected to them, that's gonna be through a freaking wire, or directly into a USB port. But I don't use wireless controllers. Those are connected via... Actually, one is wired. Like, because I use a wired controller and I use a 2.4 gigahertz controller. But the 2.4 gigahertz controller has a freaking dongle, like the mouse, like the keyboard, like the numpad. So that's just a me thing. There's like no reason I don't use Bluetooth. I just don't want Bluetooth for a computer. Like if it was my phone, I'll use Bluetooth on my phone all day long. And I have no quarrels about using Bluetooth on my phone. In fact, I love Bluetooth on my phone. To the point I get kind of paranoid because I was listening to some stuff at work yesterday. I was listening to the Lab Rats podcast VTuber thing. The VTuber Lab Rats podcast with like Ellie and Minnie and Shumi and Churchy. That one. And I think it was the one. When was that? When was the one I was listening to uploaded? Hold on, let me check. Hold up. I'm gonna see when this was. Where is Lab Brad's YouTube channel? There's Lab Brad's YouTube channel. Videos, it would be episode 4. Yes. 2 days ago is when it was uploaded, according to YouTube. Like, straight to their YouTube channel. And I was listening to that one. And I got so paranoid during that, because they were being... It's like one of those things where you get... Where, like, you tell someone, hey, come watch this streamer. We like this streamer. And then the streamer just talks about the most unhinged things ever. It was one of those situations. It's like, glad I'm not making anyone else watch this. It was like, it gave me anxiety. It's like, what if the speaker at work just randomly connects to my phone, even though it's turned off and in the back and the other speaker's being used right now? But what if? And I know it's like not even actively paired to my phone because I always forget the device when I'm done with it because it's not my speaker. It's like the work speaker. It's like, what if it just takes over and all my coworkers and the customers start hearing them talk about the teeth that they're talking about in this. If you've seen it, you know. So it's like kind of just, if you know kind of thing here. Although I wasn't against where they're talking about the teeth. I'm like, I would try it. But that's not important. It did make it very hard to focus when I went to the museum, though, because I had to work at a museum that day, too. Because it was Friday, and I go to the museums to work on Friday. Because it looks good on a resume. They don't pay me, but it's an internship, so it'll look good on my resume and help me get the job I do actually want. So I had to go to the museum that day, and I couldn't focus because I was still thinking about what they were talking about. But I have like a teeth thing, so it's weird, and we just need to not talk about that, okay? But change the topic. I was talking about Linux things earlier. I think I exhausted all my Linux things. Let me actually open up this document I have. Oh, I was talking about StarTech IT people, right? Yeah, so I was talking about IT. And StarTech, actually, I don't think I said it was StarTech IT. StarTech, actually, I guess technically their company name is StarTech.com, and it's not just their website, because that's actually what they have printed on all their devices, too. They don't have StarTech printed, they have StarTech.com printed. So I guess I should be StarTech.com. However, their IT people are great. So I did my normal thing where I call them, and like I did with the iBuyPower people, where I only have complaints about, or with whatever. That's just, and iBuyPower had the worst. I had to deal with, was like the worst IT department I had to deal with. I'm sure there are worse people out there. I just couldn't deal with them because they'll be like, oh, they, how do I say it without getting iBuyPower mad at me? When I call them and they're like, okay, well, we're gonna send this thing to your computer. We're gonna have you execute this program that we're sending to your computer, and then we're going to that'll fix it. And I'm like, okay, great. And no, that's the second time I called them. The first time I called them, they're like, we're on hold, and then end up not being able to get them that day because I was on hold for like 4 hours, which I wasn't expecting to be on hold for 4 hours. So I had to eventually hang up because I have like life things to do that day. I was like, oh yeah, I got time to call. It should take like 2 hours at most. And that's if I'm on hold for like an hour. This shouldn't be like that big of a deal. And they were so slow. I was on hold for like 4 hours. I was like, all right, bye. I'll call it. And so I call again a couple days later when I had time again. This time I made sure I had like a whole day clear because apparently they can't pick up the freaking phone. And then I finally get an iBuy Power person on, and they're like, okay, here's what we're going to do. We're going to send you this thing. We're going to have you execute this program, and it'll solve it. Okay, sure. So they do that, we do that, and then it doesn't fix it. So I call again. I'm like, hey, I've already tried the waiting thing. It's been a week since you gave me this thing. You said it was going to fix it. The computer's still broken. I still don't have stable internet. Fix it. I've had this computer for 2 weeks. It shouldn't be broken. Actually, no, it's closer to a month at this point because I did give it like 2 weeks to just see if it fixes itself. Because the computer was good for a week, and then I gave it like it started acting funky. And sometimes computers just do that in my experience. And so I gave it 2 weeks just to see if it'll fix itself. It did not. But I've had that happen before where it does just fix itself. So I was like, okay, nothing I'm doing is working. I can't diagnose this problem, but if I could, there's something with I tried everything I could think of. I switched the antenna. I switched to known good. And everything I switched with known good. Because that's what you always want to do. You don't want to go buy something that may or may not work and then be like, oh, why is this not working? Because it could just be a bad part. That happens. Like, you buy something brand new, straight out of the box, it could be bad. That's why there's warranties that exist. That's why companies do warranties. That's why stuff like that exists, is because sometimes you just buy a bad part, and then you can take it back, get it replaced, or whatever, you can get a refund. Nothing's perfect, you know? So, always test with known good. Known good cables, known good Wi-Fi antennas, known good XYZ, known good MacGuffin. Okay, you have to have a good MacGuffin for testing. Like I've also done this like when doing like my own repairs. Like my sister busted her mouse. I had Actually, it was a known bad mouse, but that's why I was comfortable doing the repair, is because I knew I had this mouse laying around. And I'm not a mouse person. Do I look like I know how to fix a mouse to you? I do. I can. I've done it before. This thing got ran over by a bus. I had it working again in like 2 days. It wasn't fun. But through reverse engineering a different mouse, figuring out because one was wireless, one was wired, so I had to figure that out as well. It got ran over by a bus, and then I still got it working, so I'm going to give myself a pat on the back for that one. But I took a known bad mouse, disassembled it, cut it up, and like took parts from it, and got the mouse that was working, that my sister wanted fixed, and got it working. If that was poor wording, Yoru, what is wrong with you? Word better. English better. But, so I did that. And I was testing with known good parts. I tell this to the iBuy Power people, and they're like, okay, yeah, that's actually a problem since we've already done this other thing, and you've already been on a call with us where we've tried to fix this. We're gonna actually just take your warranty. We'll do that. You just, here's a shipping label. Take it to a UPS store and get it sent off to us, please. And I was like, all right. And they're like, all right, here's the label. You'll see your computer in 2 weeks. Make sure you back everything up off of it because we're going to reformat the drives. And I was like, fine. And I send it off. And then I get it back and it works. And I've been using it since. I've had other problems with it since then, but I've fixed those because I actually know how to fix them. So I get this laptop laptop dock in, and I am doing everything I could think of to fix it. There was one very simple fix that actually did turn out to be a problem that I was facing, but it was like one simple fix. It took me 30 seconds to test it on the call with the dude, so it's like not a big deal. Actually, no, I can't. Oh, crap. Who's the monitor by? I can't remember the brand of the monitor, but they kind of suck. They sent me the monitor, but the monitor came with 2 USB-C cables and a HDMI to micro HDMI cable, because those are the things. However, only one of the USB-C cables supports DP alt mode, which is stupid because it's a DisplayPort alt monitor. They should both support DisplayPort, but only one of the USB-C cables supported DisplayPort, which is so dumb, because now I'm on the call with this IT guy being like, hey, I can't get video out, and I'm connecting the monitor with a cable that doesn't even provide video out. It doesn't even like support that, which is, so I felt like an idiot. I was like, I should have tested that. Turns out that was one bad cable, but the support dude I got with StarTech was fantastic, and because I was using it with a Linux laptop, and they do support Linux, like that's why I picked a StarTech dock, is because I saw they supported like everything. They're like their whole universal, like the universal laptop docks and stuff. So I saw that, so that's like one of the reasons I supported them. And the other reason is like they don't have drivers. They have network drivers, but that is it. And at first, that's the first question I asked out of the gate. So I called him. I'm like, hey, here's my issue. Here's what I've done to fix it. I've looked on your website for your documentation, or if to see if I'm missing a driver or something, to see if I can figure out what's going on with this. I do not see any drivers on your website. I only see network drivers. Can you tell me if I'm missing something? And that was like the first thing I asked as soon as he picked up the phone. He was like, hey, what's the problem? And that's what I said. And then he was like, oh, wow, you sound like you know what you're doing. Well, this will make this go much easier. No, you are correct. There are only the network drivers. And the device just supports. It just does all the work, and you don't need drivers for video out. And everything else about the dock is working perfectly fine. Like, it's charging the laptop. It is taking mouse and keyboard input. It is doing all that stuff. Excuse me. Ugh. It's late. So he was like that, and then we were on call for probably 2 hours trying to fix this, and he was doing like everything he could to help me. He was even like he was like looking up specs on my laptop, which is an old ThinkPad. It's a ThinkPad L13 Yoga, first gen. So he's looking up specs on that, and debugging that is definitely not in his job description. And if that's not in his job description, debugging Linux is definitely not in his job description. So dude was going like above and beyond trying to get this working. While we were waiting for things to load, and just like, hey, can you test this? I was like, okay, give me a sec. I'm gonna start that going. And then while the test is running, we were talking. He was a really cool dude. Best tech support dude I've ever met. He was phenomenal. And then like at one point, he was like, you should have this lock. The StarTech docks also have this really cool locking USB-C cable. It's like, you know how on a on like a VGI cable, right? VGA. Where did I get VGI from? A VGA cable, you have like the screws. It's like that, but it's a USB-C, and it has a third screw on the top. It's like, oh, that is so cool. I kind of want that. But it's like, I don't have a use case for that other than with my StarTech, other than with the laptop dock. But it is so cool. I was like, that's neat. That's not why I'm gonna buy it, obviously, because that would be stupid, because I can't use that cable anywhere else. These screws will just get in the way. But, I thought it was neat. And then at one point, he was like, hey, I don't know if it was gonna fit because of the screws on the one side, but can you try taking just the cable and skipping the dock? Just straight laptop to monitor. With the USB-C, with the like StarTech locking USB-C cable, because it obviously supports DP-Alt, because it's supposed to give video out. And I was like, oh, I didn't get that. I assumed it was sold separately. And he's like, what? How? Can you give me a purchase date for when you did it? Because you are entitled to that. That's his words. He said, that's a cable you're entitled to. Those were his words. I was like, you are entitled. He's like, you're entitled to that. I'm going to make sure you get that. If you didn't get it, can you give me a purchase date for when you bought it? Can you tell me where you bought the device from, and when you bought it? And I was like, oh, I tried to buy it from the StarTech website. However, the website wasn't letting me check out, so I ended up just going to your the links to other retailers that you have on your website. And ended up buying it from Amazon because it was like $20 cheaper on Amazon. So I just bought it from there. And he's like, yes, that's what we actually encourage you to do because it's cheaper at resellers than buying straight from us. I was like, well, you are a phenomenal tech support, dude. I've decided I like this company. You're acting like Steam support over here, my guy. And he's like, yeah, so we encourage you to do that because it saves you money. And I was like, sweet. Here's the date I bought it on. He's like, oh yeah, it looks like we were actually having a shortage on the cable. We ran out when yours was packaged. I was like, oh, sweet. And he's like, okay, here's an email. Reply to that email with the address you would like this cable to be sent to, and you're going to get your cable, sir. And I was like, sweet. Let's go. Best tech support guy ever. And then I have the cable in the mail now, which is very neat. Hold on. I lost my train of thought. Drink time. It's empty. How dare. I'm still thirsty. Okay, it's getting kind of late. I do want to keep talking, though. I'm having fun. So I'm going to open this can of Dr. Pepper, and when it's empty, I'm going to go to sleep. So he was great. And it was great talking to him. Definitely went above and beyond. I haven't tried any of their other products, just the one dock. Their products are expensive, though. I was looking at some of their USB hubs because I was like, oh, this is a neat... From my experience with this company, I was like, this is a neat company. I want to support them. You know what? I could use a USB hub. Let me go to their website and look at the USB hubs. And they're like, so expensive. I can get a USB hub for like $30. $35, and I get like USB 3, and it's decent, and it does what I need it to do. And they're like $50 on the cheap side. They do have really nice KVMs though, and they're a couple $100, but it's very tempting because my KVM sucks. Like it's causing like weird connection issues with my keyboard, where sometimes my keyboard just doesn't want to connect. And it's not like it's connected over Bluetooth. It's connected through the dongle. It's just the dongle doesn't. It's like weird. It doesn't want to output. So a nice KVM could be really good. And I think their KVMs also do audio. My KVM doesn't do audio. I get one monitor and four inputs. 3 USB A and 1 USB C. All USB 3.0. But that is it. But it gets the job done. I currently have it mounted under my desk, because I did cleanup, and I just mounted it down there, had it just to hide it. I hid a lot of my cables as best as I could. It's not super pretty on top of my desk, but it gets the job done. But that's only because I have like one way under the desk. I can't just run it behind the desk. I have to like run it to the side of the desk to get it under the desk to where the plug is, or I have to run it halfway across the room to where half the stuff isn't gonna reach, which is extremely unfortunate. So I just kind of have it. What I ended up doing is I ended up mounting my surge protector on the desk, and I ended up taking zip ties and just kind of wrapping everything up, so it's kind of it's not neat, but it's neater than just a rat's nest on the floor, and I can't see it from standing up unless I'm in the hall on like looking into my room. If I'm in the hall looking into my room that far away, yeah, I could see it, but only like half of it. The other half is still kind of being blocked by the top of the desk, so it looks neater from all angles, which is good, and it makes me happy. And it also gives me significantly more legroom. Not that I need more legroom. I always put my feet up on top of the 3D printer anyway. Like, if I'm actually doing stuff on the computer, I'm looking, like, towards my center monitor. And my feet are down or crisscross or under me. And I'm using, like, my keyboard and stuff. But, like, right now, we're just kind of sitting here talking. I'm not doing anything on the computer. Like, the computer is beside me, so if I want to reach over, use my keyboard, or use my mouse, I can very easily and not have to move or, like, reposition myself. But for comfort, I have, like, my feet propped up on top of the 3D printer because I don't have a good spot for the 3D printer. I probably shouldn't have bought the 3D printer, but I did anyway, and it's really cool, and I've been using it. But my feet are currently propped up on top of it like a footrest. It's a really bulky 3D printer. It's an Adventure AM5 Pro, right? Yeah. And it's a FlashForge Adventure M5 Pro. And it's big, it's bulky, it's not gonna die just because I put my legs on it. And I use it as a footrest all the time. I need to clean it so often because of that, because dirt just kind of gets on it, and I don't want dirt to get in it, so I have to keep cleaning it. And that's where my feet are now, because I'm kind of like sitting off to the side, and if you see my model just kind of swaying back and forth like this, it's because I'm moving in my chair, just kind of rocking back and forth. That plus just the other movements I'm doing. When I adjust how I'm sitting or adjusting like my head tilt, I've already recalibrated. I recently actually, probably about 15 minutes ago, I recalibrated both V-Bridger and iFace Makeup because I was getting some glitchy stuff happening, and my head was quite constantly I noticed my head was kind of constantly tilted this way, so I just redid the calibration with my head tilted, and now I'm getting a lot more normal movement. I don't know why my head was just tilted though. Well, I know why. It's probably because my head was tilted, but I don't know why I have my head tilted. Do I just leave my head tilted? You know, I don't actually watch my streams when I review them. I just kind of play them in the background and listen to it in the background. It could be very well I just keep my head tilted and never know. That's a very real possibility. My mouth is getting so dry. But I lost my train of thought taking that sip of my drink. Oh, I just blocked the camera. Oops. You know what? People buy fidgets. I'm bringing this up because I'm fidgeting with this pair of calipers that just kind of lives on my desk. People buy fidgets. And I've bought fidgets. I have multiple fidget spinners. I've had like some of the fidget cubes. I have fidget pins. I have fidget insert thing here. You know? And I have lots of those stuff. Not one of them is a good fidget. If you want something I'm actually gonna fidget with, pair of calipers. And these are like the cheap calipers that don't actually have like there's the really nice ones with like the dial, and then there's like the cheaper nice ones that have like the digital display. These ones are from Harbor Freight. They were like $10 because I couldn't find my calipers. No, because I left my toolbox in the car and it became summer, and then they were one of the digital ones, and they got fried, so they didn't work anymore. So I needed new calipers, and I didn't want to spend money on calipers because calipers are expensive. They're not. It's like $30 for the digital ones. The dial one is like 60 for some reason. But it's so nice, and I do want one. And it looks so nice. But just these like cheap $10 it says Pittsburgh 6-inch utility calipers. They're from Harbor Freight. They were $10. They're great. It's like the best fidget ever. I fidget with them all the freaking time. Especially during like my Japanese classes. I'm sure my teacher has seen them. Like just like a little metal pole from like the track that it stays on to keep like the things as one piece. Or just the end of it popping up randomly from me playing with them. I'm sure my teacher has seen these calipers and she never mentions it. So if they were wondering what it was, she doesn't make that known. But they are by far like the best fidget ever, and I've been fidgeting with them pretty much this entire stream, if not this entire stream. I cannot remember. I don't even know when I picked these things up. But they kind of just live on my desk by my computer now because of that. And I also use them for things like designing stuff for the 3D printer. I recently designed them bad, but I don't have enough plastic to reprint them. But I didn't realize until after I printed them that I could get away with so much less base. I printed a larger base because I didn't want them to fall. Because I have monitor stands. But for like for the laptop and for the standalone monitor I got for school. So those two things, I've been talking about those a lot this stream. Wow. I have a whole like notes thing full of stuff to talk about. And I've just been talking about Linux for an hour and a half. Okay. Am I going to be the next Linux VTuber? What do you think, Chad? Think I could do it? Linux VTuber streams on Windows. I don't know, maybe. If I stream while at school or do any content stuff while at school, it's gonna be on Linux, because that's the laptop. That's what the laptop is running, and any Windows stuff is just gonna have to be in a VM or Docker or like Winboat, I guess I can get away with as well. Actually, no, I might not get away with I'll probably just set up like a Windows VM on my laptop, and any Windows stuff I have to deal with, I'm just gonna deal with on Windows 10. Because I'll be I am not intentionally installing Windows 11 again. Actually, I've never intentionally installed. I am not installing Windows 11. I only use Windows 11 because I've got stuff on this computer that I don't want to bother setting up again because it's a hassle. Setting up stuff on Linux is so easy. It is like the easiest thing ever to set stuff up on Linux. I install the OS, I CD into my flash drive, and then from the flash drive, just cp-rf X folder into X folder. And then you do Y folder into Y folder and Z folder into Z folder. So for example, for my configs, like to get it set up the exact way my computer is set up, it is cp-rf and then I'm already in the flash drive, so it'll be /conf /dot to copy everything in the comp folder into like the squiggly line for the home directory / .configs, and that copies all my configs over. And then I'll sudo cp -rf the user folder into the root, and then I'll do the same for etc. And then that's pretty much everything. I mean, there are a few other stuff I have to set up, but those are like manual setup things. Like, for instance, setting the avatar for my lock screen. I could probably automate that, but if I ever want to use a second, profile, like a guest profile or something, on one of my computers, or if it's ever a computer someone's asking me to like, if I ever need to like share my computer with someone, like, hey, Yoru, your brother, he needs you to let him borrow his computer twice a week for XYZ. And if it's like reasonable, I'm not gonna let him use my account. You kidding? No. I'll like make him a profile that doesn't have root access, for instance. So he can't really do anything other than what he needs to on it. But he can just like select his account and then do his thing on it, you know? And then I don't have to worry about it, because it's just gonna work. And then I don't have to worry about it because and then if he wants to have an icon set for his lock screen, it could be different, because the icon, because the lock screen, like, you know, on Linux, you gotta like, at least for the Wayland stuff, I don't know how it is on X11, I haven't looked into it. Do you still use SDDM on X11? That's what you use on Wayland. Like, there's some, like the GNOME has their own lock screen. And at first I was going to use the GNOME lock screen because it was decent looking and convenient. I just got to install it. However, when I install it, it makes me install GNOME too, and I don't really want to use the GNOME desktop. I don't like the GNOME desktop. Like, if I had to deal with it, I could deal with it. I just don't want to deal with it. Like, if I'm going to have to choose a mainstream desktop, I'm not going to choose GNOME. Linux desktop, I'm not going to choose GNOME. I'm going to choose, like, KDE. But I don't want to use KDE because I like my Tyler. At first I actually chose Hyperland because I thought it looked amazing. And it does look amazing. Hyperland is a very beautiful DE. However, Hyperland sucks so much. It very quickly gets... It's so useful having a Tyler. Tylers are amazing. And they improve workflow so much. At least with my workflow. I've been trying to talk a friend of mine into using one for a while. But he's comfortable in KDE and he's been using Linux a lot longer than I have. So getting him to switch is not going to happen. Also, getting him to try my setup is not going to happen because all of my friends are low sense mouse people. Like, very low sense. Like, all of my friends, at least of the ones I know their sensitivity on, are all around like 600 to 800 DPI. There's no chance I'm ever going to get them to use my setup. They'll never be able to. Even thinking about, they won't be able to control my mouse. They'll probably be able to figure it out, but I don't actually remember what my DPI is set to. I didn't keep the software on it, on the computer, so I'll have to like re-download the software to edit the mouse if I ever want to change it. But I'm like very comfortable where it's at, but it's at like I think 44, 4500, something like that. DPI. It is extreme. Actually, it might be 4K, but it's like 5 times higher than all of my friends, at least. None of them could ever use my setup. However, if I'm working on stuff and I just don't want to keep going back and forth, I could kind of just pile everything in front of my computer and I could still get my stuff done. I can still use all 3 monitors competently because I don't need that much. What is this? Was that just a piece of plastic from the when I was breaking off supports earlier? Huh, odd. But yeah, none of them will ever be able to control. I think I wouldn't call him a friend because we were talking about it. I think it was me, a friend, and then one other dude in Overwatch VC. During a match, we were just kind of idly talking during quick play. Just kind of as you do. If you get someone who's not a douche. Which is sometimes a lot to ask for the Overwatch voice chat. My can is empty. We'll wrap it up soon. But yeah, that's sometimes a lot to ask for Overwatch voice chat. And it really shouldn't be. How hard is it just not to be terrible? We were just kind of idly talking, and the topic got brought up. I was like, oh, what are y'all's, like, sensitivities set to? Because, like, I don't do low sense. I freaking hate low sense. I get aggravated at it because, like, oh my gosh, I have to move so much. I am very much like I leave my arm where it's at and I don't move it a lot. I think that's just a remnant of me using a trackball for so long. Because I was on a trackball for like 6 years. I switched in high school because I was like, oh, if I go to college, I'm probably going to have like a tiny desk. Or maybe even be working off like one of those folding tables. Like, I know it's not going to be that bad. I'm going to have like at least a desk I could work with. I mean, it's not going to be like my home desk because I have this nice, big, open. It used to be open before I filled it with crap. This nice, big L desk. And it like kind of takes up half of the floor space that's not taken up. Like, I have a nice big full-size bed, and then I have a bunch of bookshelves, and then half of the space that's left in the room is desk. Like, I have a huge desk, and I absolutely love my massive desk, and I wouldn't want to ever downsize. Like, having so much space to work with is amazing. And I actually do stuff on it. Like, I like working on things. I like fixing things. I like working on projects. I have, like, a very janky soldering setup, but it works. It never said it has to be good. They just said it has to work, and that is the motto that I live by. Function over form, am I right? Form comes later. Function comes first. Well, not everyone's like that. I'm like that, though. And so I'll be, like, working on soldering stuff over here. Like, I need to actually break out the soldering iron again because I've had a project like half finished. I bent a pin and I've not wanted to go. I need to fix it. I just don't want to deal with it because it's small and micro soldering sucks. But I think I've talked about this multiple times on stream before, but I've been like trying to make a modded DS. No, a modded Game Boy, sorry. A modded Game Boy Advanced. And I have all the stuff to make it. I just bent one of the pins on one of the chips while switching the motherboard out. So that's the problem. One bent pin. And it's not conveniently bent either. It's bent inconveniently. And by that I mean it's bent and soldered to another pin, so I have to like desolder it to fix it. And I don't know where my copper wick is. It should be in the box with everything, but I don't know. It's not convenient though. You know what I mean? Like it's kind of I have to fix it. I have to like get all the solder off of it. I don't know where my flux went. I don't know where I know where my alcohol is, so I can clean the flux off. Yeah, it's just a pain. It's gonna be a pain in the butt. I need to fix it. I just haven't got around to it. I suck at micro soldering. Like normal soldering, I'm fine with. I'll tinker with that. I've done stuff with that before. Micro soldering sucks, and that's just a skill I'm gonna have to develop. This was my first attempt at micro soldering. I might end up just having to buy more chips, but I might do that anyway because I don't actually know how to get the solder off. I haven't tried yet. I probably could get it, but I don't want to burn the desk. Like, I actually kind of care about the desk, despite how little I care about the desk. Like, this desk has cuts, it has scrapes, it has stuff. Just, I think it has a hole somewhere from where, like, I accidentally hit it with a center punch. Yeah, like, hold on, let's see if I could, yeah, it's like, it's kind of messed up. But for as much as the desk kind of gets cut and stuff, I don't want to burn the desk. So I tried, like, I don't take care of the desk, but, like, a nice big desk is nice. So that's where I think I got, but I was thinking I was going to have, like, no space when I get to college, so I switched to a trackball so I didn't have to move. And I got so used to not moving my arm while on the computer. Now I just use Hisense. And it's so convenient, because I could just load everything up in front of my... Didn't I already talk about this? I feel like we're getting off topic. I should stream more. We still have to finish Crystal. And I know I had a lot to talk about today because it's been like a week and I've actually been taking notes like I should have been doing all along. I'm going to go through and clean out what we talked about today. Not tonight, though. I'm going to go through Stream VOD and just delete stuff as I go. I would have been smart for me. I don't even know what I took from... I didn't think I took anything. I took the Star Tech guide from my notes. Yeah, let's actually do this now so I don't forget. Obsidian, where are you? Here we are. Let's see. We talked about the weird Linux problem I was having. So we could delete that. Why are you getting staticky? Is that coming through? Hopefully that's not coming through into the stream. My mic has been kind of dying lately. Microphone, I need you to last, like, no more time. Like, stream is almost over. This is going to be the last thing. I will replace you eventually, I promise. That can be saved for the next one. I talked about those, so we could clean this out. There's two things here, and I kind of just accidentally talked about one of them. Because it kind of got lumped into the Linux stuff. Star Tech people, we talked about. Pop. We could... I'll talk about that today. It goes on with what we've been talking about, so I'll clear that. Hold on. Okay, I cleaned up my Obsidian thing, and there's a bunch of stuff in here I want to talk about, but I'm going to save it for a different stream. However, there is one thing that goes really well with what we've been talking about today, and that is the USB ports on my laptop broke the other day. And this is the problem of... This is the good problem you kind of want to have, but at the same time, it sucks more when you get this problem. I don't know how I fixed it. My USB ports were broken. Actually, I should rephrase that. I know how I fixed it. I don't know why it fixed, if that makes sense. Why are you screwy? Please be happy, Mike. Oh, crap, that is going through. I need a new microphone. This one's kind of falling apart. It was cheap, though. I have one I want to buy. Yeah, I have one I want to buy. I just haven't bought it yet because it's not cheap. This one wasn't cheap. It was like $50, but still on the low end for a microphone. And that does sometimes cause problems. But it lasted me 3 years, 4 years, something like that. So I count that as a win. And it still works perfectly fine. I just don't want to buy another microphone. One, because I don't want to spend the money on a microphone, because this one still mostly works. And two, setting up a microphone kind of sucks. You have to, like, make so many recordings and testing, and... like, you could set it up easily, really fast, and just call it done. I played with this one for, like, 2 days at one point, and just got it. Trying to sound as much like me as I could make it sound, just going through my own ears. And I was like, that's not me, that's not me, that sounds like me. Which is also weird, because I need to get used to... it's a weird balancing act where it's still probably not right, if that makes sense. And it could probably be better. I'm not a sound expert. But the issue I was talking about, because it's late and I need to not drag this stream on for too much longer. I'm going to tell this last story and then I should be going to bed. But I keep getting distracted. Yeah, the USB ports stopped working on my laptop. Don't know why. They'll still take power. I just plugged a drive into one. I think I plugged my config drive into one, intending to work on some of my configs. However, it didn't work. I was like, huh, why is Nautilus not giving me my drive? Okay. That's weird. Normally, Nautilus just makes it pop up, and then when I click on it, Nautilus will go ahead and mount it. Let me try manually mounting the drive. Like, just listing all the devices and seeing what there is. So I do that, and my laptop couldn't even see it. I was like, oh, my ports are broken. I think this was last Sunday. So like a week ago. I think it was the day after the last stream. Yeah. So I do that, and I was like, it can't even see it. I was like, am I crazy? Or is this not how I mount a drive? So I do the exact same steps to manually mount a drive, but on a different computer with the same drive. Like I said, if that would... other computers known good. If the drive is bad, that's good to know. If... I don't know, if it's a bad drive, I'll try a different drive. If I still can't get it, I might be screwed. But... I just took the first step to list all the devices that the computer could see, so I could start mounting the drive. I could be doing it wrong. I'm not an expert. But as far as I know, this is how you're supposed to do it. So I do that, and I see the drive. It's not mounted, but I could see it. The computer could see the drive. So it's which leads me to go back to the laptop and try all of the USB ports on it. And then I'm like, oh no. Neither of the USB ports, I think there's like 2, might be 3. I think it's 2. Neither of these USB ports can see the drive. Why are my USB ports broken? So, I don't know what possessed me to do this. No, I remember. I was in the BIOS because I was like, can the BIOS see it? Because, the BIOS also lists all the storage devices connected. It's like, hey, what do you want to boot off of? It doesn't even have to be... I can go into the BIOS on this computer now, and I can see the stream drive. Because I record all of my streams to a flash drive, and then I'll also upload them from that, which does take more time, but... I'm not limited by the speed of a flash drive. I'm limited by the speed of internet. So it's fine. I don't care. So I can go into this computer and I can see that if I wanted to, I can boot from my stream drive. Am I gonna? No, because that's really stupid. And I'm not gonna do that. But I could if I wanted to. So I go into my BIOS on the laptop and to see can the BIOS see this drive? No, it can't. However, while I was in the BIOS, I was like, why do I have a Windows boot manager for a Linux machine? I'm not dual booting. I don't need that. I delete the Windows boot manager from the BIOS. It's back there now. I don't know why it's back on there. I think it's like the BIOS comes with it and it's like reinstalling itself for some reason. But I deleted the Windows boot manager and then booted into the laptop to try to figure out, just because it was the device I had in front of me. I was like, okay, I'm gonna do some research, try to figure out what's going on and why I can't do it. And the first thing I did is like, okay, since I'm gonna be, since this is what I'm gonna be doing, let me open up Nautilus, let me open up Brave, and let me open up the terminal so I can just have everything I'm gonna need to fix this in front of me to fix this. I got as far as opening up Nautilus and Brave. Because by that, when I went to open up the terminal, just like mod Q, I think is my, yeah, that's my, so Windows Q was my key bind to open up a terminal. I Windows space files and then open that up, and then as I'm typing in Brave, I see it that the drive is listed in Nautilus. So by the time I click enter, I'm like, wait, what? I click on it and like there's all my stuff. So just removing the Windows boot manager fixed both of my USB ports. And now the problem is I have no idea why. That's the only thing I changed on the machine, so I know that was the fix. It couldn't see the drives before then. After I removed the Windows boot manager, it could see the drives. And I have no sweet clue why. And sometimes having no sweet clue why is scarier than knowing why something worked. I would rather know why a fix worked versus why it didn't. Because knowing why something works means you know means you kind of know what's going on. But doing something that works and having no idea why, you just lucked your way through. At least that's how I see it. And lucking your way through computers only works but so much before it's just, okay, this is going to be a problem. I should learn how to actually do it. So if anyone has any ideas as to why that solved it, that would be great. It'd be much appreciated. Because I got no sweet clue. Okay, anyway, it's late. I should go to sleep. I'm sleepy, and I'm out of drink. So I'm gonna go get some water. I'm gonna go get some water. And then I'm gonna brush my teeth, and then I'm gonna go night-night. Well, I'd like to thank y'all for joining me. I know I just kind of mostly ranted about Linux for an hour and a half, and then talked about crap, what else did I talk about? I think I complained about IT for a little bit too. Oh, this was a very different stream. But I had fun. And it's good to be back. I don't know if we're going to be in Crystal next time. I think that's what I said last time, is that next time we'll be back in Crystal. And I do still want to finish Crystal. I've already given up on finishing Crystal before leaving for school, unless I like stream every day, which I know I don't got the time for. I would offer to do like Linux dev streams of me like working on my configs or trying to set stuff up or install stuff or work on things. I've been trying to learn Rust as well. Yeah, I've been working on things in the background, just like my own personal projects and hobbies and stuff, because this is what I like to do for fun. I've been doing that stuff, and some of that stuff I just cannot make into a good stream. If I was good at it, maybe, but I'm not good at it. So, do you want to sit there and watch me read Rust documentation and mostly silence for 2 hours? Because I'm not following a course. I'm like, oh, I kind of want to make XYZ in XYZ. Actually, I kind of want to make XYZ, and I'm just going to learn Rust. So, I could say I learned Rust. Why not? I also use it for, like, random tooling. Nice. I make my own tools for stuff, like
I was going through one of my old majors. Cause I have switched my major every single year in college so far. My old major was I did a semester with a major in accounting. That fell through. I'm not doing that for the rest of my life, so I kind of just dropped out of that. No, I don't want to be an accountant. It seems very boring. But while I was doing that, I kind of got tired of factoring stuff, factoring numbers. Actually, no, was I factoring? Yeah, I was factoring because we were going through like a math review part, and I was like, I know how to do this already. I don't want to do it, so I just kind of wrote code to do it for me. Or like having to do math with fractions also kind of sucks because you have to like find common denominators. So I just kind of wrote code to do that for me too. And I think I still have those tools. I think they're written in C, but those tools should be on my computer? Question mark? I might have got rid of them. I don't know. I don't clean out my files very often, so they're probably still here. But I was supposed to be wrapping up the stream, and I'm talking about more stuff. Yeah, so I don't know when the next stream is going to be. This is going to be fun, but I've been doing like a lot of stuff that I just cannot stream. Like I said, it just wouldn't be entertaining, and I'm going to be more focused on learning or debugging in the cases of today, and just saying why 642,000 times. And y'all probably only want to hear me say why 537 times, not 642. So it's not gonna be good stream. So I do those stuff off stream. It's very fun. I think GitHub is on. If any of y'all care, GitHub should be on Linktree. If you want my configs, because I know I've mentioned GitHub configs like 4 times today. I'm not gonna leave y'all high and dry like that, because I know some people do care. Don't expect anything good though. It is very bad, and like I mentioned earlier, it is just a backup for me, and it's just hosted not on my computer or my drives, which is convenient sometimes. But yeah, let's uninstall this there too. So if you really just want to make my system Arch and GitHub, that's all you need, and you'll have my system. You won't have like my lock screen icon, my avatar, but everything else I try to make like I don't ever change my wallpaper, so I kind of just, instead of setting up a wallpaper switcher thing like I know is normal in the Linux space, like you see like the Hyperland configs or like other Neri configs, or basically most tilers. You have like some way to switch your wallpaper, and it like also changes the entire theme with it. Like it changes all the colors. I'm not the type of person. I've had the same wallpaper forever. Actually, no, that's not true. I got sick and tired of my old wallpaper. I didn't get sick and tired of my old wallpaper. I thought my old wallpaper didn't look good on 3 monitors. It was fine on 2. 2 was pushing it, but it doesn't look good on multiple screens. So I switched to a wallpaper that looks better on multiple screens. So now my wallpaper is just part of my Neri configs. Like it's in the Neri config folder. And then it just references, Neri just kind of references itself, which is pretty neat. Okay, I really gotta go to sleep. Well, thank y'all for joining me. It took me like 10 minutes to say good, to get through like leaving, and if I don't leave now, I'm just gonna keep talking. So I'd like to thank y'all for joining me. I had a lot of fun. I hope y'all did as well. And I will see y'all later.